the one and only Michael Chandler. There he is. What's up, Mike? How are you?
What's up, Ariel? Living the dream, man. How are you?
Man, you're so good. They had the announcement. You had your own video. You had your own. I mean, you are just so freaking ready. It's unbelievable. I appreciate that. I appreciate the finer details.
Yeah, hey, just proper planning. Obviously, yeah, it was a whirlwind of a couple days trying to figure out if this whole thing was happening and trying to figure out logistics and stuff. So here we are, man. So I wanted to get my first reaction right away out to the fans, and I was on Bussing with the Boys as well. So
Your boys.
It worked out really well.
Yes,
the boys. Holler! I'm hopping on the bus. Get the sleepies out of your eyes. We got an announcement to make.
So when did this first cross your radar? When did the first mention of this come to you?
I mean, obviously, whenever Conor kind of went out there and tweeted that he was going to be do the Ultimate Fighter, immediately I was trying to throw my name in the hat. So some talks were had, but nothing was finalized really until a couple days ago. Truthfully,
wow.
Like a day or two before it actually got announced.
Wow. So the initial sort of talks came from you? Like you saw that stuff like we did and you threw your name out? They didn't reach out to you first?
Well, no, not really.
Oh, why are you kayfabing me, Mike? I mean, come on. I was going to say, give you credit. It just goes to show, like, if you want something, go out and get it. But they came to you first.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, I do want something, and I've been trying to go out and get it for the last 2 years or so. So, yeah, man, it's you couldn't have scripted it any better, and this is the biggest platform that we ever could have asked for. Obviously, the fight itself, but the opportunity to be on ESPN, the network, for all those weeks leading up to this. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Big year for the boy.
Yes, gigantic. I had heard that there was some talks with Nate Diaz. Like, were you being kept abreast of all of that, and or was it just like, yo, I'm into this. If you want me, like, let's talk.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I know, obviously, for me, I was really worried about myself and was burying my head in the sand as to try not to see anything that was out there or what was going on, because I knew I was a front runner for this, this whole thing. I've been a front runner for Conor's return for a while. Obviously, everyone has expressed interest in it. But obviously, yeah, we know there's always big fights out there when you're talking Conor, Diaz. I mean, Masvidal had his name in the hat. Tony Ferguson was throwing tweets out there, which I don't know if that was, if he was a legitimate candidate or whatnot. But ultimately, here we are, and we start filming here soon, hopefully.
Was there any concern on your part that the loss to Dustin would take you out of the running for a Conor return fight?
Ultimately, you always think the negatives that come from losing a fight. Obviously, I had my sights set on beating Dustin, and then watching the fight this weekend and seeing who my next opponent was going to be for the title. But as fate would have it, lost that fight and wasn't quite sure what was going to happen, who was going to be next. I knew I wanted big fights, big stages, and doesn't get any bigger than this. But ultimately, man, when you're fighting the best guys in the entire world on any given night, you could suffer a loss like I did. And it deterred me for a second. Definitely hurt. That one hurt for sure, physically and emotionally. But if a bad thing happens, but a good thing comes from it, was it really a bad thing? That's what we must ask ourselves as human beings.
Yes. By the way, what's a bigger deal for you, a Conor McGregor fight or a title fight right now?
That's funny, because that's been the question over the last year or so. Because I've been focused on trying to get that title, making my way toward the title. Losing to Dustin, obviously that light got dimmed a little bit. The thoughts of that happening were definitely a couple fights away at that point. So now I'm focused on the task at hand, and obviously the biggest fight I could have ever asked for, plus the caveat and the extra promotion, the extra being stuck in the microcosm, for better or worse, on cameras 24/7, on microphones 24/7 at the Ultimate Fighter, on the Ultimate Fighter, in the Ultimate Fighter competition. The competition starts right now. So I say the Conor fight, obviously because of the way the last couple months have happened, and the last fight, but it's going to be fun. Got a big year.
And just curious, was it ever like, hey, do you want to fight Conor? And then they came back and said, hey, do you want to fight the Ultimate Fighter? Or was it always this package deal?
I think it all no talks had been happening between me fighting Conor necessarily until this whole thing happened with the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, I think, obviously I think the first story that broke, or the news that broke, was Conor saying that he was going to be a coach on the Ultimate Fighter. Was that solidified at that point or not, I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I'm a guy who I show up and I sign my name on the dotted line. I say yes to most things that make a lot of sense. I don't ask a lot of questions, and I think you're seeing the fruits of my labor pay off now.
My understanding is this fight is happening at 170. Is that accurate?
I don't have any understanding of weight classes or whatnot. I haven't been talked about it. Once again, haven't even asked, because if I have to make 155, I will make 155. I by no means want to make 155.
So you'd be happy with 170?
Oh, I'll be ecstatic with 170.
Okay.
I would rather fight at 170. It is not the only reason I've never missed weight in my entire life, wrestling or mixed martial arts over the last 22 years, was because I am just a little bit more disciplined than a lot of people are willing to be for longer periods of time than most people are willing to be disciplined. I by no means make 155 easily. It's only because of 12 weeks of a calorie restricted diet and doing extra when a lot of people don't have to make their weight classes. So 170 is a dream come true for me. So I can be at my biggest, my baddest, and my best, just like I said I wanted Conor at. That's when I called him out after the Ferguson fight. I want him at his most dangerous and his biggest and his baddest. So Conor's looking big, and I can't wait to go out there and compete against him.
So if this fight happens at 170, which again, this is what I have heard, and you look great and you do great and you win the fight, is it possible your days of 55 are done?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think goal number one, crush it on the Ultimate Fighter. Goal number two, beat Conor, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I still want to be wearing UFC gold in the near future, whether that's a 155, 170. Obviously, 155 is the only point of reference that we can have right now, because I have traditionally been a 155er. Fighting this fight at 170 will definitely give me the opportunity to see how I compete and how I feel at 170. I train with a lot of welterweights, some big name welterweights in the UFC and the other organizations. So I by no means am a small, I'm a smaller 170 pounder, but you've seen a lot of guys have a lot of success with that. I.e. Frankie Edgar, one of the greatest fighters of all time, didn't really cut much weight to make 155. But so I've always watched that. I am no spring chicken. I am heavy. So, making 155 is never fun. But once again, I sign my name on the dotted line, and I see through to my commitment.
I know your MMA debut was at 170, right? And you've had some catch weights. When's the last time, though, you ever fought above 55?
Oh, man, it was like my third fight. And yeah, that basically back then, you know how like the regional circuits are. It's like, hey, we're going to put you on this card and we're going to try to find you an opponent. The next, one opponent pulls out, the next opponent comes in, he's at 170, you say yes. So I think I fought my first fight at 170. Second fight was at like 165 or 170. Then I fought a catchweight at 160. And then I've been 155 ever since, because I went into the Bellator tournament. And then, I've been 155 ever since. But I've gained about 15, 20 pounds of right. muscle and old man strength since then. So
that's true. When do you go to Vegas?
Going to Vegas the next week or so and starting to film, because obviously it airs in May, you said, right?
Yeah, May 30th, right?
May through August. So so we got some filming to do. Still got a lot of details to figure out, coaches and hotel, house, transportation, all of that kind of stuff, and then get thrown into the fire right away of being a coach, which I'm really excited about. I by no means want to be a coach when I'm done fighting. But this 8-week, 10-week, 12-week stint, whatever it's going to be, taking this as serious as I possibly can, because somebody's life and career is on the line. Not their life,
sure.
physically, heartbeat, but their future is on the line. Their future is in my hands. I get the opportunity to coach these young men or women at whatever weight class they are, and all those details haven't been at least released to me yet. But either way, I take this stuff seriously, and the competition for whenever I fight Conor later this year starts right now. I want to beat him on the Ultimate Fighter. I want to be a better coach than he is. I want to be a better motivator than he is. I want to have a better presence with my team and our success than he does. Get in his face, metaphorically, physically, verbally, and kind of see what happens.
By the way, I'm a little surprised that you don't want to be a coach. I feel like you would be a great coach. Like, I feel like you're a motivator. I mean, you've done it all. How come?
Man, I think it's a good question. I don't know. As of right now, talk to me when I retire. But as of right now, I just don't think. Well, I can tell you this: this sport has taken a toll on me. Man, it's taken a toll on my family. It's hard for me to leave my family for stints of time and invest so much time, energy, and and care into my career to provide for them, let alone doing it for someone else. Now, I don't want to sit here and act like I'm a selfish person, but my wife and my boys and future kids, if we have more kids, is that's what's important to me. So sacrificing more time, energy, effort, and resources for someone else's career is going to be really tough for me. I could see myself speaking on stages, coaching online, business coaches, masterminds, something outside of just the X's and O's of mixed martial arts. But hey, talk to me after the Ultimate Fighter. We'll hop on here,
Yeah.
and I'll let you know how it goes, because I do see myself as a coach down in my gym in Florida with all the guys. I'm one of the older guys in the gym. I've been there, done that. I have a certain level of platform compared to everybody, so I get asked questions all the time, and I'm helping guys all the time. So I'm technically a leader, captain, coach there as well. But this will be the first time that I'm really in that coaching role, Coach Chandler. I'm going to show up like a wrestling coach, tuck my sweatshirt into my sweatpants, whistle, wrestling shoes, Daniel Cormier style. So we'll see, man. It's gonna be fun.
You got to also tuck the sweatpants into the socks if you're wearing sweatpants,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
That's a
Yes,
key for
right.
a wrestling coach. By the way, speaking of your family, what are you going to do? That's a long time to be away. What are you guys going to do?
It is. We're setting wheels in motion, setting up some plans, trying to get stuff figured out. Yeah, it's hard for me to be away from them, especially now where obviously when I leave, I'm leaving now for work, and then daddy's got to work, and my son Hap knows especially that like every man has to work, and he has a very good relationship with the idea that you have to go work and you have to be away for times. You have to go be selfish in order to be home and be selfless. But ultimately, yeah, I want to make sure I have a house out there, fly my family out, when I can. I don't even know, are we filming 24/7 or are we filming
Right.
2 hours a day? I have no idea, so we don't really quite know till we get in there and start making decisions on the fly. Luckily, I've got a great relationship with the UFC, ESPN, as well as I have phenomenal management with Dave Martin and Randall Alleman. Randall is local. He's lived in Vegas his entire life. So we've been on the phone call nonstop since it got announced, and we're setting up stuff to get everything set up. But ultimately, I'm going to see them no matter what, even if I got to not sleep for a few nights or days or whatever to make sure I get my time with my family.
So this is gigantic for multiple reasons for you being on The Ultimate Fighter at ESPN, the Conor fight. Does it feel a little bit, I don't know, surreal that you're in this spot now? You've had a lot of crazy things happen for the last 2 or so years since coming to the UFC. But, for a guy that was on the outside looking in of this orbit, and now it's Ultimate Fighter, it's ESPN, it's Conor freaking McGregor. Does it feel too good to be true? Does it feel, like how are you processing all of this? Because this is the spot. This is the spot that every single fighter at 45 to 70 has been asking for the past 2 years, and you got it.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I remember being on the outside looking in and always seeing these huge stages and huge opportunities and huge things that I felt like were passing me by, or I was, and I'm very happy with my career, and I'm very happy with the road that I took. I'm very happy with the patience that I showed, the strategy that myself and my management kind of put ourselves through every single big decision that we had to make. But it is very fitting and very, I think, ironic that the Conor McGregor who came into the UFC and was constantly talking about what was going on up in his mind and how he manifested things, how he saw things, how he willed things into existence. And now we see the Conor that we see today and who he is today. And he made all that stuff happen for himself, from welfare plumber to who Conor McGregor is now. And I truly believe I've seen this, not exactly this happening, but stages like this happening, platforms like this happening, and notoriety like this happening, and blessings like this happening since I wasn't even signed with the organization. It's a very powerful position to be on the outside looking in, getting to study the way the industry works, the way organizations operate, the way fighters operate, the way just everything, the puzzle pieces get connected. So, this is my 14th year as a mixed martial artist, and now this is the biggest stage, biggest platform, biggest opportunity I ever could have asked for in every single aspect of it. Not to mention, and that's just catching the lightning in a bottle called a Conor McGregor fight, with just the massive platform that it is. And everybody talks about the red painted night and the big money fight and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the money is great too, but the opportunity to be in something that everybody cares about is what I want. A platform where all the eyeballs are watching, everybody is tuning in, everybody is buying the pay-per-view for that night, that moment, that opportunity. And then you couple that with the opportunity to be on ESPN, the network, for a month and a half, 2 months, every Tuesday night or whatever it's going to be. People are going to be tuning in, and the tension is going to be palpable, and the build up and lead up to this thing could be the biggest pay-per-view that we've ever seen. Obviously, I am a wishful thinker. I have confident expectancy for myself to show up and build this thing. Conor knows how to build things, so we're about to have a blast.
You think 2 million is a possibility? I feel like it is. What do you think?
I think 5 million is a possibility.
Dang, really?
No.
No. Shit.
I mean, traditionally, traditionally, if you look at the numbers. I think 2 million is not just a possibility. I think it's very, very achievable and very attainable. I think what I have, me, it's hard for me to be, toot my own horn, but what I've created is this level of intrigue and mystique that when I show up on fight night and that cage door closes, all hell breaks loose and my foot is on the gas. I haven't seen a brake pedal at all since I signed with the organization. Honestly, since I started fighting. And it's just continued to build and build and build. So you look at why this fight got made. Conor knows it's going to do big numbers. You look at why this matchup, the UFC knows it's going to be a massive fight. And can we tip our hat to Conor McGregor? I am not the easiest fight for him to come back against after 2 years of layoff. Everyone can say he's rich, he's famous, he's this, he's that, whatever he is. But Conor chose with the UFC a not easy night in that UFC octagon. And that, to me, is indicative of a guy who needs something special and needs something a little bit dangerous, needs something a little bit scary to keep him on that straight and narrow between now and this late summer, fall, whenever this fight happens. And that, to me, gets me excited because I know he is motivated and excited.
What do you think the dynamic will be like on the show? What do you think the relationship will be like when you guys are together and seeing each other every day for a few weeks?
I think in this particular scenario, it's always good until it isn't. It's obviously right now it's good. Conor's been respectful of me. I have been respectful of him. I think we both have a lot of mutual respect for our strength of schedules, our resumes, our standing in the sport, if you will. But you get stuck with somebody on camera nonstop 24/7 for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however long this is. Things happen that are out of your control and sometimes out of character. So I don't know if we're going to see the brash, loudmouth, trash talking in your face Conor, or we're going to see the respectable Conor, or we're going to see one on Monday, a different one on Tuesday, and a mixture of both on Wednesday. But the beautiful thing is we get to figure it out, navigate and negotiate it in real time. And the fans at home watching on ESPN get to be the beneficiaries of it. And every single week, it's going to be must-see TV leading up to the biggest fight of the year.
You fought on the same card in Abu Dhabi, and I know you were on the stage together at the press conference. Other than that interaction, do you have any other interactions with him?
No other interactions. And that was respectable, Conor.
Yeah.
That was respectful, not respectable. He is respectable, but that was respectful, Conor. When he had that fight in Abu Dhabi, he did come up, shake my hand. Hey, welcome to the organization. Glad to have you. Good job up there. Whatever. And since then, it's been a little bit of social media respect here and there, but everything changes when you're in person with somebody. And not to mention the pressures of that scenario. When I got 8 young men or women or 16, whatever it is, and I'm taking it seriously to go out there and win, not just win every single fight, but dominate every single fight, make sure these young fighters are in the best position in their lives. So, dadgum, man. The good thing is I have zero expectations. Am I ready for the trash talk and the witty, cunning tongue of Conor? Absolutely. But I'm just going in with arms wide open, excited to go on a journey that is about to blow, I think, my mind and a lot of people's minds.
I think I saw over the weekend, you spoke about the fight over the weekend, and MMA Fighting made a little quote card thingy on social, and he quote tweeted it with a laughing emoji. But I think it was about how you're gonna beat him, Mystic Mike and all that stuff. And that's the only thing that I've seen where it's him sort of responding in a, I don't even want to call it confrontational, but did you see that as well? And if so, what was your take on that?
I did. I missed it until somebody retweeted it because I didn't see it. But I mean, it's good. Whatever. I think if I was in his position and he said that to me, I would laugh as well. But that's what I see. That's how I break this fight down. That's how I analyze it. Like you, like everyone else who's been following this sport, I have followed Conor's career, the highs and the lows, the things that he has done awesome, the times that he has faltered. I've seen it all on a national stage and on display. And I break this fight down by me going out there and I think finishing him within the first couple rounds of the fight. But the beautiful thing is this whole thing is just going to build and build and build. I can't tell you how excited I am to share the octagon with him later on this year, but it starts today and we get to do this whole long journey together. And there's going to be some highs, some lows, some ups, some downs, some holy cows. Did he really say that type of things? Holy cow, did that actually happen on national TV things? And it's going to be a blast.
You know, I think most people would say I'm preparing, I'm expecting the best Conor, the Conor of 2015, 2016, etc. But considering everything he's been through, let's not forget also a massive injury, right? 2 years ago that could change the way you are as a fighter, as a person. Is there a part of you that is expecting a lesser version of the Conor that we saw? Like in actuality, who are you expecting to see?
It's a good question. No, I'm not. I mean, number one, that's one of my safeguards. Always expect the best opponent, the best version of your opponent. Number two, like I said, the fact that it's me standing on the other side of the octagon is indicative of a man who wants a dangerous fight, who is hungry for something that makes people feel something and moves people. You don't sign on the dotted line and stand on the other side of the octagon with me unless you know that hell is coming towards you. It's just my style. It's who I am to my core. That is the cloth that I am cut from. So I see this as, could Conor have come back and fought somebody not as dangerous? Absolutely. But he didn't, and he's not, and he's going to fight me. So I think, and also what he said in his tweet about when he announced that he was going to be on the Ultimate Fighter, this was a perfect opportunity to have full immersion. I think his first love is fighting. His first love is mixed martial arts. Without the sport of mixed martial arts, he's not the Conor that we all know. It's not boxing. It's not movies. It's not business. It's not whiskey. It's not all these other things. His first love, his passion, what makes him tick is mixed martial arts. Now, he's had the luxury of being able to step away when he wants to step away, and also obviously an injury, but he can step away for as long as he wants because he has the finances to do so. However, on his comeback fight, he's fighting me, one of the most kind of, I think, chaotic, most dangerous, most powerful guys in the division. So I think we're going to see the best Conor that we've ever seen, starting his training camp inside the Ultimate Fighter house, which is a great way for him to kind of pull himself back into mixed martial arts and coach, and honestly see these young, hungry, talented fighters who he sees parts of himself in. He sees the Conor who was laying on the couch, and Kavanaugh had to pull him off the couch to get him to come to the gym, and now here he is with a bunch of zeros in his bank account. He sees that. He's nostalgic about the sport of mixed martial arts, studies it, is interested in it, loves it. It's his first love. So I think we're going to see a very motivated Conor McGregor.
Takedown attempt line set at 3. We going with the over or the under?
As far as what? Oh, 3? Yeah.
Do you shoot once? Do you even shoot once?
Maybe after we have a little bit of fun. Yeah. You know, we gotta have a little bit of fun. We gotta have a little bit of fun out there.
Yes.
And wherever the fight is. Hopefully it's in Vegas. By the way, a little quick fact: I have been signed with the organization. This is my 6th fight, and I haven't fought in Vegas yet. So I hope this fight is in Vegas. Conor notoriously, no pun intended, fights in Vegas every time. So, man, we got to have a little bit of fun before a shot takes place.
Yo, Allegiant Stadium, home of the Raiders. I feel like this could be it, right? Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, I have not, but man, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Conor's been talking about Croke Park in Ireland.
Yeah.
He's been talking about, remember the Jerry Jones Dallas Cowboys Stadium? Conor can fill a stadium. A Conor fight can fill a stadium. Conor's comeback fight against one of the most dangerous, and the most exciting guy in the division, we sell the thing out for sure. So I hope so. I might actually call him today and be like, yo, boys, let's really start working on this Allegiant Stadium thing, man. We'll see.
Do you know who? Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
You can, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Do you know who your coaches are going to be yet?
Oh, man, that has been one thing that it's not easy. So I'm basically asking these people to make a 4 to 6 week commitment in a matter of a 7-day notice, right? So obviously, I've got a phenomenal team and stable of coaches down in Florida. Obviously, I would love to have Henry Hoof there the entire time. That's probably, that's not going to happen. Jason Stroud as well, our other striking coach and one of our lead assistant coaches who's been traveling all around the country following and coaching and cornering our team. I'm going to have a mixture of those two guys for the striking, as well as, a couple other guys that we've got at the gym. I talked to Gilbert Burns yesterday. I would love to have him come out. Obviously, he's got his fight with Masvidal coming up. So my one stipulation and the big thing was, hey, man, I'm not asking you to do this unless you 100% want to do it and it benefits you for sure from a training aspect, and it's not going to take you out of your game, because I know it would be hard for me to make that commitment. So still finalizing coaches, still throwing names out there. Obviously, I can run the strength and conditioning and the wrestling aspect of it, especially, and then oversee everything else. But I really want to bring in a really good striking coach and a really good grappling coach, and make sure these young men or women are put in a good spot for fight night.
Two last things. By the way, who do you think wins, Islam or Alex this weekend?
Dude, I waver back and forth on this fight every single time I answer it. I just answered it earlier today, and I said I think Volkanovski can weather the somewhat of a one-dimensional attempt of Islam. But if Islam is able to do what he wants to do what he needs to do to win, it's going to be a hard night at the office for Volk. I still favor Volk in this. I do think as a 145er, I think he carries that weight that he used to be at, that 200-something pound rugby player. I think he carries that strength. I think Islam will be surprised at how strong Volk is at 155, being a 145 pounder. Volkanovski just has too many tools, and his fight IQ is very, very high. So if I give the edge, it's Volk, but it's not a big edge.
Can't wait for that. By the way, any sense of pride? I don't know if you watched. Did you watch your former organization, Bellator, on CBS this weekend? I mean, you helped build them. You were the face of the organization. Was there any sense of pride, or are you so far removed from them now that you don't feel any of that anymore?
Definitely not removed. I mean, there's still some nostalgia in me that says, I mean, you call a spade, man. Without them and I building the organization and them helping build me together, I wouldn't necessarily be here, right? So Scott Coker texted me, congratulations on this. Like, I still have a phenomenal relationship with everybody at Bellator. I actually missed the fight because I was on daddy duty, and then my wife was out of town. So, but man, they're doing awesome. Obviously, Bader's a great friend of mine. Used to wrestle with Johnny Eblin. Fedor retiring. I was honored enough to share the same card as Fedor once or twice. So the last emperor is now retired, and I wish him the best of luck and great health in retirement. And
we wish you the very best. And by the way, congrats! New contract recently, right?
New contract recently, yeah.
Look at you.
So, things are looking up. This whole fighting thing might work out for me, Ariel. It might work out for me.
I think it has.
Eventually.
I think it has. You are killing it. Congratulations. You have really willed this into existence. You were talking about it since the moment you got there. And again, you're not just getting the massive fight that everyone wanted. You're getting the platform. You're getting the show. You're getting ESPN Linear. I mean, it's really an incredible deal. And I have a feeling you will rise to the occasion and we'll use it very well. So thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. I know it's a very busy time. Safe travels out there. Good luck on the show. And hopefully we could talk about the experience whenever it wraps up.
We sure will. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
All right, there he is, Michael Chandler.